So I'll just get a link. We're just waiting for one more because CF Werner can't join until the feature race. Well, just have to be the same case as Joa, Belgium. Ah, Phil's in. There we go. Okay. Welcome to the stream, guys. On my account. First and second. Swifty and Mitchell. Okay. Is that your predictions for today or third, fourth? Oh. Right. Okay. Right. I think we can ready up anyway because CF Werner can't join until the feature race. It's 12 comments already. Wow. Hi, welcome everyone. Wow. Great to see you all here. Yeah, everyone can ready up. 420. Nice one, Cameron. Nice. Very good, very good. Just waiting for Joe now to ready up. But it's starting now anyway, so. So we got one shot qualifying, as usual. Just to remind you, one shot quali, 50% sprint race, and a 50% feature race. Today for the sprint, it's 11 laps, 14 laps for the feature. So, yeah, it's looking like a dry quali here in Russia. Welcome back, Aiden. Nice to see you here. Okay. Okay. Very thoughtful of you. I'll check the comments before we start quali. Dry all around, so no rain this weekend. As there was not in Austria, because there wasn't any rain there either. Right. Good luck to all the drivers. And here we go. Starting qualifying now. I'll put all the stuff on for you guys. But at the moment, Lepodom making his debut this weekend. Up in P2 already, so it's only really been one corner really, but nicely through that first and second corner. Verify goes up to P1, Ryan in second, Mitchell third, Philip in third actually. Young Shots is dropping down quite a fair bit. There's people switching all over the place, and that's invalid for Lepodom on his debut qualifying. And that's Ryan up in P1, fastest first sector, leading ahead of Verify, Young Shots, Dylan. Oh, CVT now, Young Shots. Yeah, it's all switching all over the place, so I can't really keep up with it. He goes over that curb a little bit. That's going to be... Whoa, that was not invalid. Somehow, he got away with that. But Shots takes the lead, I should say. Mitchell second, so 1 and 2 for Carlin at the moment here in qualifying. Ryan doing a very good job ahead of the championship leader in P3. Oh, Verify is actually going up, then going back down positions. We've got Swifty staying in P13 now. It might be an invalid lap. I'll just check that quickly. Yeah, invalid lap for Swifty and Philip. So the two primers are in last. At the moment, Tam Voucher will be on reverse grid pole. Young Shots gets the fastest lap by 4/10 over Ryan, then Michael, then Dylan, then Verify. Then JDM, CVT, Seb, Joa, and Tam Voucher gets reverse grid pole. So that's ideal for Tam Voucher, but third is probably the best place to start here in Russia. So we'll check who's got third in both races. So, of course, Young Shots getting pole position by 4/10, a dominant performance from him. Michael will be starting third for the feature race, which is the second race. And in the race coming up, we've got Seb starting P3. So he'll be able to get the slipstream from Joa and Tam Voucher. Potentially make it 3 wide down into turn 1. But we're yet to see what happens. We know that it's going to be 2 dry races. So, yeah. Can't wait. And there's our 3 disqualifications, by the way. Philip, Swifty and Lipodom. I better get the weekend stats ready. The weekend build-up, as it's now called. Alright. I'm ready. And so are our drivers. Right, here we go then. Russia then. Round 11 of Rapid Racing League Season 2. Circuit stats. For the first time in Rapid Racing League, we'll go racing around Sochi with 18 corners to navigate for our drivers, most being known for the unforgiving curbs that could either flip a car. Yeah, I've tested that out before. Don't want to be doing that today as JDM nearly spins. And possibly give severe underbody damage to our drivers. 5.848 kilometers, 3.633 miles is your circuit distance this weekend. Rain hasn't really played a massive part in Sochi before, until last year, of course. And it's not going to play a factor today. Tyres, Tier 2 will be used in the super softs, the mediums and the full wets if needed, which they're not, I'll remind you again. So here we go then. Recap. Tier 2 had a very dramatic sprint and feature of feature races in Austria, with multiple leaders spinning out during both races. One of the main drivers to be out was Verify, our championship leader, and the first ever championship leader to DNF in a race, bringing him, Young Shots and Michael very close to one another in the championship. Just 1 point separates Verify and Shots, and then Michael a few more points behind. Michael won both of the races in Austria, but still didn't have a stress-free weekend. He and his teammate Young Shots and Joa colliding in the feature race. Young Shots also lost the feature race win because of penalties. We had 4 other drivers on the podium, which included JDM, Tam Voucher, who's in pole position today for our sprint race as a driver spun over there, Verify and Joa. And now the top 7 only can mathematically win the championship from now. It's eliminating drivers every single weekend, so they've really got to perform up to expectations and not get in silly little incidents that can cost them a race win or a podium or some good points over their championship rivals. But what drama can be brought here today in Russia for round 11? We're yet to see. So we're just going to wait for the cars to line up on the grid. That's Swifty we're waiting for. And we should be going to the 5 red lights soon. Right, here we go. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 red lights to Russia for the sprint race. And it's lights out and away we go. It's a good start for Tam Voucher, but he has to jump over to cover off Joa. And that's Seb in 3rd place. As I mentioned at the end of qualifying, going for the 3 wide into turn 1. Will he keep it 3 wide? CVT and Verify both in the background there as well. As we head through turn 1, it's still 3 wide between those 3. Joe is still behind Tam Voucher. No, he's not anymore. He's gone around the outside of Tam Voucher now to get the lead of the race. Now Verify's in 3rd, and that's a crash back there. That's for Young Shots. He's got a bit of damage now. Joe goes very wide at that corner, but pretty clean. We haven't had any yellows this lap. As Seb goes for a move now on Young Shots, and that's a spin. That's Lipodom in his debut. He's had a spin. Meanwhile, Verify's had a spin. Verify, he doesn't be wanting this right now. Of course, after DNFing in the feature race, as mentioned in the weekend build-up, he doesn't need this at the moment, as there's another yellow flag. That is for Lipodom again. So, not a very good debut for Lipodom, but Verify's going to want to look to come back in this race, and he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to. Meanwhile, we see Mitchell up the inside of Skiprat. Skiprat's still keeping it in there. There's a bit of contact in front, and that's between Seb and Philip. Oh, Dylan. Yeah, Dylan. So through the first sector, it was actually quite clean. But as the lap's gone on, it's got a bit crazy, and drivers are not knowing what they're doing. I'm not sure who had the damage then, because it definitely wasn't Shots. I've just checked. But some Red Bull livery did have damage. Seb's in the pits, Dylan's in the pits, and Lipodom is in the pits as well. Meanwhile, we see up ahead CVT looking for the move around the outside of Tam Voucher. There's contact, and they both go off the track a little bit. Meanwhile, Young Shots and JDM both go off the track as well. JDM leaving his braking very late, looking to be nearly 3 wide going into this next tight corner. Oh, and JDM is... Oh no, Tam Voucher's going to send it down the inside. He's got 2 moves, but... Oh, and who's that in the background? That's Ryan going off in the background there. Tam Voucher has lost 2 positions to CVT and Young Shots. Wow, I'm struggling to keep up with this at the moment. Meanwhile, those 3 that pit are still in the pits, actually. It's quite a slow pit lane. But Shots is the first one with a penalty. Stuck behind CVT for a little bit until straight, maybe, where we could see a move. Meanwhile, the 2 primers, P9 and 10, leading the constructors. Going to be losing points. That's Skiprat going wide, I believe, and both primers get past. Are we going to see a move here from Young Shots? We're going to see one from Ryan, though, on JDM. He's going to go around the outside of JDM. A bit of contact there. We're going to go on board with him. Bit more contact. Ryan gets through, though. Squeezes JDM out nicely. But JDM's going to come back at him. He's got the better exit. And he goes round the outside now. Looking to keep it there for the inside for the next corner. And, oh, a bit more contact there. But JDM's got the move done at the moment. Is Ryan going to send one down round the outside? He is, of course he is. He's off track though, and that's going to give him a warning. So he's just got to be more careful. Joe gets the fastest lap. Now does Shots. And that's a yellow flag for Lipodom again. Mitchell now gets the fastest lap. As we see a move from Ryan on JDM again with the DRS enabled. Meanwhile, up ahead, we're going to see a move from Young Shots maybe on CVT. No, he doesn't go for it into turn 1. But JDM is going to go for it on Ryan into turn 1. Oh, and there's a bit of pushing and shoving again from JDM into turn 1. So, not turn 1, turn 2. Turn 2. It's not turn 1. As Ryan gets back now at JDM. JDM goes very wide there. He's going to have an awkward line for the corner. Pushes Ryan very wide there. Mitchell is possibly going to get through on JDM. And he is as... Oh, there's a bit of contact there. Mitchell needs to not get in silly little incidents like he saw his other championship rivals do. He's just got to keep it careful so he can catch back up in the championship, since he's the one at the lead with the least points out of the 3 drivers involved. So JDM's going to send it back down the inside of Mitchell, but they're keeping it nice and clean. This is a nice little battle between these 2. Meanwhile, for P2, Young Shots is going to go for the move on CVT. He's going to go to the inside, and he sends it into the braking zone. Oh, there's a bit of contact there, a bit of pushing and shoving, as Shots is keeping it round the outside now. He's going to try and do the same as what JDM did, maybe. And he does. He's squeezed out CVT nicely there, and he gets up into P2. So Joa leads, Young Shots P2, and CVT in P3, but CVT could get the DRS here off Young Shots. And of course, Slipstream in F2 cars is way more powerful, so and Ryan gets the fastest lap there. So we're going to see CVT now. Is he gaining on Young Shots? He is a little bit. That Slipstream once again meaning a lot. Dom has spun at the same corner, but as long as he finishes, it doesn't really matter. He's going to score points. As that's Maichor and JDM going off track once again with these two, getting a bit close. Got to take it easy, both of them, because Skiffrat retires in the pit lane. Not sure why he's done that. He could get points for ARTs. Seb gets a penalty. We haven't seen many penalties this race so far. I was expecting quite a few more, but
got a penalty.
Yeah, and Young Shot got a penalty on lap 2, I believe. But Shots he's ever gaining on Joa. He's got a nice corner there. He's got the DRS now on Joa. Swifty gets a penalty. The penalties are starting to rack up now, and Young Shots goes to the outside for the next corner, and he's already got the move done before the braking zone, I believe. Yes, he has. He pulls over to the racing line. Nicely done from Young Shots. And now CVT is going to try and look to get past Joa. Can he possibly do it? We'll yet to see. But Lepodom retires in the pit lane. Of course, not ideal for the team once again, because that's just no points now for the team. And we're going to watch now CVT pushing Joa through the corner. Joa with his early braking as usual. We're going to go on board now with CVT. As Tamvouch is actually looking at CVT. Instead of CVT looking forwards, he's having to look backwards. But the setup difference between CVT and Tamvoucher is massive. The Alpine reserve goes into the back there. Oh yeah, Ryan has had a little moment there. He's dropped behind Maichor and JDM. Meanwhile, we'll look back up for this battle for P2. Maybe CVT can capitalise on Joa's early braking. He's going to send it to the inside. No, he's not. He's going to stay behind and play it safe and try and get the DRS. Since Joa will not have the DRS from now, from Young Shots. And look at how close CVT is getting to the back of Joa's car as he goes through turn 7. And CVT is going to go down the inside already, just before the DRS straight. And he's got the DRS as well. He'll use that to try and pull away, but like I said, the slipstream, with the slipstream, it doesn't really make a difference if you've got DRS or not. But here's Tamvoucher now. He's going to the inside of Joa. Can't seem to make a move on CVT, but there's a bit of contact there as the hand of anger goes up from Joa. And Tamvoucher gets the move done nicely around the outside. And he's up into P3, the podium positions once again. So we'll look further down now. JDM drifts it through the corner, basically. That's going to affect a lot of time. That's going to take off a lot of time. And cost him. This is a yellow flag. That's for Seb. Seb's going slowly. He must have just had a little spin. There's not going to be any moves, I don't think, unless someone goes for an absolutely massive send. Yeah, no moves up for the lead. But there is one from Ryan, potentially looking around the outside of JDM. Maichor up ahead goes very wide. He goes off track. And kind of gains him time, but track limits at Russia doesn't seem to be a thing from what our tier 2 drivers were saying earlier in the race day chat. So we're going to stay on board with TTV Ryan, the ART driver and Haas reserve. He goes down the inside of JDM for Charouz. I believe that this is the weekend before he misses his first race for JDM. Oh, and that's so close to contact. JDM has to go off there. Ryan nearly getting pinched to the inside. There's a yellow flag. That's for Dylan. He spun on the straight. I'm not sure how. But we're going to watch now. TTV Ryan looking for the move now on JDM for P6. JDM goes to the inside for the next corner, but Ryan's on the outside. And the inside for the braking zone. Oh, and they're keeping it side by side here. A bit of pushing for track limits. But they're keeping it nice and clean without any contact, which is very good to see. Oh, very close contact actually. Just as I said that. And JDM keeps the position. So very nice defending from JDM there. As Young Shots gets the fastest lap now. Possibly going to see a move from Tam Voucher on CVT. As CVT is out of DRS of Young Shots actually. So we'll watch this. And then if there's no move, which I don't think that there will be. Oh, and there is! Tam Voucher sends it to the inside. Sends CVT wide. But no move there. Ryan gets past JDM. JDM sends it to the inside now of Ryan. There's a bit of contact. JDM nearly spins. He has to go off the track. And that was very close to 2 spins. Joe is now looking for the move on Tam Voucher to try and get back through up into the podium positions. Joe has said he was looking strong going into this weekend at Russia. And he is doing a pretty good job as JDM now gets a penalty. He's got Verify trying to catch him. So he's probably panicking a little bit now as JDM. As Verify is a very quick driver. And looking to make up for this race. But after this one, I believe that if this is how it finishes, Young Shots will be in the lead of the championship going into the feature race. Sorry, I'm just looking at a message from one of our tier 2 drivers. There's no moves at the moment, so Tam Voucher now still looking behind CVT to try and get the move done up into second place. Of course, this is a little DRS train now between CVT, Tam Voucher and Joa. Is Tam Voucher going to send it once again on CVT? He's not close enough this time for the move. But CVT goes wide anyway. Maybe he could use that to his advantage. As we go through the swooping left-hander in sector 1. CVT once again missing the apex of that corner. Seb gets another penalty. He's on the super softs after he pit. And he's very close to his Tam Voucher. He's going to go for the move into this corner, but it sends CVT a bit wider. Tam Voucher with a better corner, but not really making a difference actually. He's just going to wait until the DRS straight. JDM gets a penalty. So JDM's really racking up those penalties in today's sprint race. He's got to keep it more clean like most of the other drivers are, since he doesn't want to be losing too many positions, since he'll miss next week. Seb gets the fastest lap, so that's an extra point for Charouz, which they're really looking for at the moment, of course, in their charge up the constructors in tier 2. Meanwhile, Maichor is just lingering out of a second of this. Oh, and Young Shots gets a fastest lap, so takes it off the Charouz driver of Seb, and he's on the mediums. Maichor is now within the second. Tam Voucher is going to go for the move this time. He's close enough for it, and he goes to the inside. He's going to try and go down the inside of turn 2, and then there's a bit of contact there, and Joe nearly goes into the side pod of Tam Voucher. Dylan gets a penalty. Joe is up the inside of Tam Voucher through the sweeping left. Is Maichor going to make it 3 wide into the next corner? No, he's not. He's not going to go for the double overtake, but Tam Voucher and Joe are still going side by side. Now Tam Voucher's pushing Michael to the inside of the track, moving back over to the racing line. That's very aggressive driving, but nice and clean from Tam Voucher to try and keep P4 at least. But he's got to try and get past Joa again now. He was on the attack, but now he's on the defense. Well, he was on the defense, and now he's going on the attack again. Yeah, JDM and Verify very close, but we're going to stick with these drivers. Oh, actually, no. Verify's even closer. He's got the DRS, so I'm assuming that's going to be a move. But we're going to see maybe Michael going for the move on Tam Voucher. Down the inside. Tam Voucher squeezes him to the inside again. But Michael's through. What a move from the Carlin driver. An amazing move there. And Verify got the move done on JDM. And Swifty's also there in the background, potentially looking for the move on JDM. But Verify is going to be vulnerable to JDM and Swifty. Down the next straight, of course. He hasn't got the DRS to help him along. But if he gets a good few corners, then it should be fine. Ryan gets the penalty now. So he's got to get 3 seconds ahead of Verify. Since he's got that 3 seconds now. Seb gets another penalty. Trying to get that fastest lap. There's no moves going down into turn 2. But Joa does go very wide there and has to cut the corner. Michael has got a better exit. JDM gets past Verify again, but he's off track. JDM is off track, and he's up the inside now of Verify. Verify is going to try and go back around the outside of JDM. Oh, and it's very close between these two. And a bit of contact there, a bit of wheel banging. JDM has to go off the track there. And Verify finally gets the move done on JDM. And I don't think that he'll be able to get Verified back. Meanwhile, Michael is looking for P3. CVT is just getting away in the distance there. This will be his first podium in Rapid Racing League if he keeps it up. He's got 2 more laps to do it, and Swifty gets a penalty while he's trying to catch JDM. Joa has no DRS, but Michael does, and the slipstream. He's going to go to the inside. Yes, he does. He goes to the inside. Oh, and there's a bit more contact there. Joe keeps round the outside, bit more contact. And Joe squeezes out Michael. Michael goes for the switchback, but like we've seen on plenty of occasions this season in Tier 2, it just doesn't seem to work, the switchback. Meanwhile, Swifty, JDM and Verify all still very close, so Verify really not being able to get that move completely done and get away from JDM and Swifty like he would want to. He'll finish ahead of them anyway, even if he does finish right behind them, since they do have penalties. We're going to go back to the battle for P3. Which way will Michael go? To the outside or to the inside? He's going to be close on the outside, but he doesn't go for any at all. He's playing it nice and safely, of course, being in that championship battle. But Young Shots has completely dominated this one. JDM has gone off track again while overtaking Verify. No wonder he's got so many penalties if he keeps going off track like that. And he's ahead of Verify, but Verify, if it stays like this, he will finish ahead of JDM. Oh! And there is a move. JDM must have gone wide or got an illegal overtake, because Verify has just gone for a move and got past him, and that's left JDM vulnerable now to Swifty. JDM goes wide again, so he's got to keep it within the track limits a lot more. Michael's around the outside of Joa, and he gets the move done just before the DRS. Michael's up into P3. This looks like a Carlin double podium, what they couldn't get in Austria. And Michael has secured it with that DRS. Is Tam Voucher going to send it one last time? No, he's not. Joe goes wide, though. That leaves an opportunity round the outside for Tam Voucher. Is he going to try and battle Joe until the line? Oh, Michael nearly loses it, actually. Up ahead in P3. But it doesn't look like there's going to be any battling. Young Shots comes around the final corner to win the Russian sprint race. CVT for his first podium in Rapid Racing League finishes P2. It's a Carlin double podium. Michael ends off the podium positions in P3. Joa P4, Tam Voucher P5, Ryan P6, Verify P7. Swifty got ahead of JDM in P8. JDM finishes P9. Phil comes across the line, finishes P10. Seb has had a very horrid race and will come across the line in about less than a minute, I'll say, to finish P11, and Dylan will also do the same to finish P12. But is Seb pushing for that fastest lap? He is quicker on his lap, actually. Is Seb. The Charouz driver might get the fastest lap. If he hasn't got it already. We'll see. Who's the fastest lap? Oh, Seb has already got it, so he's just improving on his fastest lap. As he goes around the final corner now, finish P11, and he doesn't get the fastest lap, new fastest lap. He has got the fastest lap overall, but here's Dylan round the final corner, P12, and that's your sprint race for today. And now we wait for the feature race. JDM let verify through. I better remember to screenshot the results this week, because I didn't last week.
And you need to.
He's having troubles, so he won't be able to join.
He said, "What's lobbies doing for the trial?"
So now we wait for our drivers to ready up to get into the feature race. Of course, strategy plays a massive part in the feature race, and we're wondering what tyres people will start on. We had JDM last week, the only one on hard tyres at the start of the feature race, and it seemed to work out for him at the end, going on the softer compound to the end of the race. As I believe that High Tech are actually making positions up in the constructors after that race. 2 points behind Prema for the championship lead in the constructors. So well done, High Tech. They're just going to get a few more points now over Prema to get that P1.
Yeah, I have to race against 6 drivers tonight.
Oh.
Right,
as we wait for the feature race formation lap, and we have Young Shots on pole position, the man who's just won, and he gets away nicely. Nice practice start there for Shots.
And Verified is doing his own thingy.
Yeah. So this is the qualifying results then. Young Shots in P1, Ryan P2, Mike Chor in P3, the two Carlins in the same positions where they're finished. So we're obviously looking around that pace then today, as Lipodom's going very slowly at the back. Dylan as well in 4th, going very slow. He was stuck behind Lipodom. Verifying 5th has just completely bolted away from everyone. His tyres are going to be the coldest on the grid. JDM in 6th. He's also letting drivers through. CVT in 7th. Seb in 8th. Joe at P9. Tam Voucher P10. Skipper at P11. Philip in P12. Swifty in P13. And Lipodom, who's finally caught up to the back of these. And that's a crash. JDM and Skipper. No clue what happened there. But spinning on the formation lap and crashing. JDM and Skipper. Very weird. Yeah. You see Ryan and Shots getting very close, actually. Shots trying to back everyone up away from Verify, because he wants to play it tactically and get the warmest tyres over his championship rival. Of course, Young Shots now leading the drivers after that sprint race. So it's all on. Oh, was that a bit of contact there between Ryan and Shots? Yes, it was! Ryan gets disqualified though, but Shots doesn't. There's a bit of battling going on the formation lap. That's between Dylan and... Oh no, not between Dylan. That's Joa and CVT. I'll check chat. Okay, so JDM went left. Oh, he went to let him through and he drove into me. Okay. So now we know what happened there. As we just wait for the cars now to line up on the grid for the feature race today. The last one will be Swifty once again to get into his grid spot in P13 again. Sorry, hit my mic accidentally. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 red lights to the feature race. It's lights out and away we go. It was a quick start there from Young Shots, and he's got a great one. That's going to help him down the straight, as people won't be able to get into the slipstream and use it to their effect. And that's a big crash. Oh, and there's a rollover. There's a massive crash. And that is Ryan out of the race. An absolutely massive crash there. People getting penalties. What have I just seen in front of me? There's a safety car for the first time this season in Tier 2. And we have one at Russia. That was definitely a safety car crash. Wow.
Jesus Christ.
I have no words for that. Mike Shaw was involved. There was a bit of squeezing going on from Ryan, I believe, and that just sent Ryan and Mike Shaw straight into the wall. Mike Shaw has no front wing. Yeah, Ryan rolled over in the air. That was a massive crash. Wow. And now we have a safety car. What do we do? What do we do? We never know. Because we haven't had it yet before in this tier. Yeah. And what do the drivers do is the bigger question, actually. Do they pit early? We've got lots of comments now. Yeah. Cameron also got the perfect angle of that. Yeah, so did I. I just seen Ryan's car flipping through the air. I shouldn't be laughing about it, but that was such a big crash, and I've never seen anything like that before in a league race. Wow. That's just wow. As Mike Shaw now pits. So does JDM. So does Skipper, who has no front wing as well. Seb's in the pits. And that is also Tam Voucher in the pits as well. Lipo Dom and CVT also follow into the pits. Dylan also went in, which I didn't notice. So he goes on to the Super Sauce. Will those take him right to the end? It's going to be a tight one. Might even get a puncture. But both Charoos having to double stack. And both for damage, actually. We've had 10 comments in the last minute since the last checked. Wow. Billy says, OMG, is Ryan okay after that? I'm sure he is. Ryan is very mad though. Is this restart worthy? It is a pretty big crash. Seb says, mate, I got such a good start and they hit me. That had to be a race ban. It was a pretty big crash. I doubt that anyone behind that would have been able to avoid it really, since cars were all over the track there actually. But yeah, there's the Aston Martin safety car for the first time in Tier 2. Young Shot still leads over his championship rival Verify, and meanwhile their other championship rival is in P8, had to pit with damage. But they are going to get a massive jump, is Michael, and the people who have pit onto Super Softs over Shots, Verified, Joe, Swifty and Phil when they all come into box. So wow. It's bound to happen at some point, a safety car. Of course, those massive crashes in Austria as well, and still no safety car. We got virtual.
This has to be a restart. Really?
Who said that?
JDM.
A restart. We've got a safety car for a crash, so it's a safety car. And it's a lap 1 collision as well. Like I said last week for Tier 1 in my interview, I believe I said it. It's a lap 1 collision. Yeah, it's a big crash, but in the past I've had people having a go at me for restarting on lap 1 after a collision. So
I want to say no restart.
So yeah, there's not going to be a restart. Of course, if a big crash happens like that on this safety car restart, then yeah, it will be a complete restart. But yeah, once again, it's a lap 1 crash. I can't do anything about that. People are going to be all over the place, and that's just how it is sometimes. But yeah, no restart. Yeah, of course, nothing that anyone could do to avoid that massive pile-off. I still can't believe it. Such a big crash, but this is our order then for the safety car restart. Young Shots in P1, Verified P2, Joe in P3, the two Primers 4 and 5, Swifty and Phil, Dylan in P6, Lipo Dom up in P7. These are all the drivers that have pit already onto the Super Softs, and we'll get a jump over the drivers who haven't pitted in this race. So Michael P8 after that collision, JDM P9, Skipper at P10, CVT P11, Tan Voucher P12, and Seb once again in P13. Safety car is in this lap, and we're waiting now to go racing once again. Of course, none of these drivers have ever had to do a safety car restart in Tier 2 this whole season. So it's going to be a learning experience, but hopefully they'll get away cleanly, as Shots will control the pack and the pace. The limiter's going to stay on though and slow everyone down. So hopefully people don't go into the back of one another like we're seeing back there. Shots, I believe, has gone for it. And Verify's got an equally good restart. Could we see a move from Verify down this main straight now on his championship rival Young Shots? We're going to go on board with him. Can he get the move done into turn 2? Or just before it? Which way is he going to go? He's going to go to the inside of Young Shots. And he goes down the inside. Brakes very late. And he squeezes Shots out. Shots goes over the corner. And they're still side by side into the sweeping left-hander. And they're still keeping it side by side. Young Shots gets back through on Verify. What a lovely battle between these two championship rivals. And I hope that we get to see more. Dylan's got past Phil, meanwhile. And they're all off to a clean restart, which is very good. Phil nearly goes into the back of Dylan, though, and goes very wide, which leaves it an open opportunity for Lipo Dom or Michael. Oh, and Lipo Dom has absolutely sent it down the inside. He doesn't spin off that, which is very lucky for him. Tam Voucher's also off the road in the background. And he goes over the curb, and he nearly flips over. And Lipo Dom is in the barriers, but he's not out of the race. As we nearly saw what I was talking about in the weekend build-up. As Seb, Seb gets past Skiprat. JDM is looking for the move on CVT. Meanwhile, up ahead, Dylan has got the move done on Swifty. We're going to watch this move, though, maybe? No move. Dylan has got through on Swifty. And they're all very close, but keeping it nice and clean, except for that one little crash between Lipodom and Mitchell. Mitchell would be very lucky to get away with that. And no side pod damage. Yeah, Lipodom again spinning, but I do recommend him to not retire, as it's massive points in the constructors going to be lost. But here we go again, down the main straight. Verify could potentially go for a move on Shots. Shots is weaving a little bit. Verify looks for the move, but he's not going to go for it. In the background there, Mitchell, CVT and Phil nearly going 3 wide. There was a bit of contact between Mitchell and CVT, but CVT has got a great exit. It's 3 wide through the sweeping left-hander between the two primers and Mitchell. Mitchell gets squeezed out to the outside. CVT is also making it 3 wide now, and there's contact. Mitchell spun round. Mitchell has managed to keep it the right way, though, and keeps it in P10 at the moment. CVT, though, looking around the outside of Swifty. Swifty pushes him so wide there, that could be a warning. For CVT, as they're still going side by side now, pushes him wide again, and we're going to turn 7 now. Is this going to be another? Oh, and it's nearly another Lipodom, but CVT spun, and that's a big crash between Tam Voucher and JDM. I mean Seb, and all 3 of them ending up in the wall. CVT gets a penalty for a collision with Seb, and another big crash today.
Third and fourth.
Yeah. As now we nearly see a move from Mitchell down the inside of JDM. I've got JDM and Seb quite mixed up. I thought that JDM was involved in the crash, but he wasn't. So he carries on fighting in P7. Tam Voucher was lucky to get away with it as much as he did, but he's going to have to pit again. Right, Young Shots sets the fastest lap. JDM and Swifty both going side by side into the final corner. These two having so many good battles this whole season. And they're still going side by side. Is Mitchell going to make it 3 wide again? Going down to turn 2, and it is 3 wide. Mitchell's going to go for the double move. Can he go down the inside, or will he back out? He backs out, which is very smart from Mitchell. Doesn't want to get involved in another collision. Swifty and JDM were going side by side. But Seb's out now in the pits, and he's left the session. Mitchell sends it down the inside of Swifty. Was that a bit of contact? I couldn't really tell. No, that wasn't. But JDM in P6, Swifty P7, Mitchell in P8, as it was on the safety car restart for Mitchell. So they're all catching up to Phil now. So it's a 4-way battle for P5. Meanwhile, up ahead, we're not really seeing any overtakes. But of course, with DRS enabled, surely we should see one soon. As Swifty makes a mistake and Mitchell goes down the inside of Swifty. Meanwhile, JDM's got the move done on Phil, and he's got the DRS, but Phil's got the slipstream. We're going to watch this battle with Mitchell and Swifty, and JDM and Phil at the same time. Mitchell gets back in the slipstream of Swifty. JDM and Phil going side by side into the corner. Phil goes for the switchback. Doesn't work. As I mentioned earlier, we've seen that so many times this season, where the switchback hasn't worked in these F2 cars. As we go to the main straight now for the lead of the race, can we see a move from Verify on Young Shots? He's got the fastest lap of the race as Verify. We'll focus on any lower down battles in a second, but the battle for the lead is probably the most important one at the moment. Is Verify going to send it down the inside of Young Shots? Yes, he is. He goes for an absolute send, but he goes off the track, and so does Shots. Both trying to outbrake each other, but Verify has got the move done on Young Shots and takes the lead of the race. Meanwhile, the two Primers both battling and going off track. It's getting a bit feisty between the two teammates going off the track. Shots is right behind Verify once again. This could be a big battle for the lead between these two championship contenders. We haven't really seen it all season between these two on the track. but it's about time now that we see these two battling for the lead, as we have a yellow flag. That's for Lipodom. Once again in Sector 2. Mitchell is very close to Swifty, but I don't believe he's going to get a move done. That would be very risky. But Shots now has got the DRS down this down this other straight. Verify's doing a little bit of weaving, actually. He's got to be careful because this could be a report. But Young Shots goes around the outside, turns into the inside for the next corner. And they're still going side by side through the corner, which is very nicely done. Switch back for Young Shots, and he's nearly made it work. But the turning for the F2 cars is just not enough to get that switchback perfect. So Young Shots has to stay behind Verify until this next straight. Verify peels into the pit lane though. Goes for an undercut on Young Shots. It could work since Verify is going to have one lap of warming up his tyres, and if Young Shots does come out ahead of Verify, Shots' tyres will be quite cold compared to Verify's. JDM also follows Verify into the pits, going for that early stop. Is anyone else going to go in the pits? They're quite far behind. I don't think that Tam Voucher or CVT will. But we'll see in a battle there. 3 wide into turn 2 between Mitchell and the two Pramers. Swifty's on the inside. Oh, and there's a bit of contact. The two Pramers once again going off the track. And Mitchell has to stay behind them both. This is losing them all very valuable time to try and at least make their strategy work from pitting on lap 1 due to the damage under that safety car. Is Mitchell going to send it on Swifty? No, he's not. He's going to stay behind a little bit, but Swifty goes wide. Mitchell gets a better exit, but there's a bit of contact. Oh, and Swifty cuts him off there. Very aggressive from Swifty, I must say. Just don't let it get too aggressive, guys, please. Swifty goes wide. He hits the inside curb, and now Mitchell slows down for the DRS, actually. So tactical there from the Carlin driver. And now he's going to use that to his advantage to get past Swifty. There's a bit of jolting going on for the steering wheels. And Mitchell, I believe... Oh, and Swifty's tried to stick it round the outside again to try and keep that position. And they're still going side by side, so amazing battling between these two. Swifty's on the inside now of Mitchell. Mitchell's going to go for the switchback as Swifty goes wide. Young Shots is in the pits. Dylan's also in the pits. So the man who pit on lap 1. And now Mitchell's in the pits. Swifty was thinking about it, but he decided to carry on because Phil has gone in the pits and got a speeding in the pit lane penalty. So not ideal from Phil. But here's Shots then. Getting a little bit held up by Joa. The two high-techs double stacking. But Dylan's came out right behind Young Shots. So good team play there. It might not have meant to happen, but Joa's held up Young Shots a little bit. So Dylan is a lot closer now to Young Shots. And that's Verify. Verify's just ahead of Young Shots at the pit exit. And he goes into turn 1 in the provisional race lead. Young Shots is going to get a better exit though off the corner. Gains a little bit of time. Meanwhile, Dylan went off the turn 3 there. Cut turn 3 completely. But now we get to see what the rest of the race brings us. And hopefully it's a lot of battling between these two championship contenders for the race win. Dylan goes very wide though. Gets a penalty. He doesn't want that, of course. And he doesn't need it either. The closest two on track are these two. They've been close all season in the championship, and now they're this close on track. So now Young Shots has the DRS and the slipstream. Verify moves over to the right, then to the left, then to the right again. Young Shots is going to go up the inside of this next corner. It's going to be the outside for the next one. Verify sends it back down the inside. He's stuck his nose in there, but Young Shots has got amazing control there of the race lead, the provisional race lead now. As we get to see if Swifty pits. Yes, he does. So Swifty, the last driver to pit here at Russia, unless damage occurs for anyone else. And Young Shots will soon be back up into first place properly. As Verify sets the fastest lap, which is to be expected on those super soft tyres. JDM's actually up into 4th, so he's doing a good race here. That undercut obviously working for him. Not as much for Verify though. Verify goes a little bit wide. Mitchell is on the mediums, since he did pit onto those super softs, but he's going to be a disadvantage really on those mediums from how quick the super softs are compared to those mediums. Mitchell actually gets a penalty for exceeding track limits. It's very rare to see him do that, but here we are at Russia and we've seen him do it, so yeah. Verify now is out of a second of Young Shots. He's looking a bit understeery. I'm not sure if that's the tyre heat-up setup or maybe a bit of damage that we can't see, as Joey gets a penalty down there in P7. We'll check the penalties now. So 6 seconds for Dylan. He's got to try and get another second over JDM. Phil has 5 seconds. Mitchell has 3. So does Joe. Swifty has 6 with CVT as well on 6. So that will mix up the grid order a little bit at the end of the race. I will only be interviewing the race winners again this week, like I did last week. It's a yellow flag, that's for Swifty. He's spun it. I believe he's got damage on the front right. No, he hasn't. He has not got damage on the front right. Okay. Tam Voucher's also around his outside. They're going side by side actually. Swifty's going to have very hot tyres though. Outbrakes himself a little bit, but he keeps it in track limits, which is very good to see from the Prema driver, but he gets a track limit penalty. Just as I say that. Tam Voucher now is going to have the DRS. I was going to say in the comments, vote for your driver of the weekend. Or of the whole day, 2 races. Or you can vote for each race. Just specify which race and which driver you're going to go for your driver of the day. As we see Tam Voucher and Swifty going side by side through the sweeping left-hander. He's going to go for a switchback is Tam Voucher, but once again it's not working. The front wing getting caught on the rear wing, on the rear of Swifty, so that seems to be preventing it. Okay. Of course that vote can change by the end of this race, but put in your sprint race driver of the day if you would like, and predict who your driver of the day for this race will be. As we see Mitchell now looking for the move on Phil. He goes for a switchback, but yeah, it's just hopeless. So he's going to have to wait until the next straight, unless he can get it done before. Is he going to look for the move into the second last corner? No, he isn't. Phil brakes very late there, but once again, like we saw his teammate do, keeps it within the track limits. That's Skip Rat who spun. As we're going to see the DRS effect now from Mitchell on Philip. He's going to go to the inside of turn 1, down towards turn 2 now. The mediums versus the super softs. The mediums seem to get the better. Mitchell moves over to the racing line to get the move completely done on Philip, and he's up into P5. So a nice move there from Mitchell, keeping it nice and tidy. So we see Tam Voucher very close to Swifty. He's going to look around the outside. Doesn't work though. We're going to turn 3 and turn 4 now. Still no move. So we'll wait until the next DRS. JDM gets a penalty. So Dylan only needs that 3 seconds, but he'd already got the 6 seconds anyway over JDM. So Dylan is on for another podium. This will be his second of the weekend, of this season. Of course, his first one being a win. uh, in Brazil only a couple of rounds ago. So now we go onto the DRS straight. Is Phil going to look for the dive bomb to the inside? Yes, he is. He goes for the move on Michael, but Michael plays it nice and safe and leaves him enough room anyway. Phil doesn't get that dive bomb move done as we look to Tam Voucher and Swifty. I don't think that there'll be any move into this corner, so we'll go up to... Oh wait, Swifty went very wide. Tam Voucher's gone round the outside of Swifty now and gets the move done. Those mediums still working for Tam Voucher, being on them 7 laps. Just the same as CVT, who overtakes Skiprat. Skiprat has damage. So, oh, Swifty's pushing Tam Voucher through the corners now, as Joa catches up to Phil as well. We could see another last lap tussle for a few positions, which is what we've seen a lot this season. As we see Swifty going for the move on Tam Voucher. Is Tam Voucher going to go around the outside again? No, he isn't. Sorry, I had a little hiccup. Tam Voucher looking to go for another move on Swifty. Could he potentially send it to the outside, get a better break in? No, he doesn't. He cuts back into the corner though. Gets a better exit. Swifty goes to the inside, then back. Oh, and JDM gets another penalty. No, JDM's really racking up these penalties now. He doesn't want any more because that will really affect his position at the end of the race. I'll check the penalties, and Dylan gets another one. Dylan on another penalty. So that's 9 seconds for Dylan. He still only needs 3 seconds over JDM. So does JDM over Michael, as we see Joa and Philip battling for P6. And Joa's got the move done. So High Tech, the constructors' leaders, I believe, charging towards that constructors' title even more now, as we see Tam Voucher and Swifty going side by side, and Swifty stays ahead of Tam Voucher now. He's doing a lot of defensive moves, which is really putting off his line like that and leaving opportunities open for Tam Voucher to strike at. So Swifty doesn't really want to be doing those defensive moves too much because it's really going to cost him the position at the end of the race. Tam Voucher, of course, without any penalties, and he gets the move done before the final corner. Swifty is going to get the DRS though on Tam Voucher. I think that Swifty played that nicely, nice and tactically, to get the DRS, and he powers past Tam Voucher now, cuts across him and makes sure that he gets that move done. He doesn't want to be doing any unnecessary defensive moves from now, as Joey gets a penalty now. Oh, and so does Swifty. Swifty gets another one, as he went too tight on the inside of that sweeping left-hander at turn 4. And Phil's catching back up to Joa actually. He's not within a second though.
And the last few bends.
Yeah, young shots coming through the final sector now. Tam Voucher gets his first penalty. And young shots. This is his first ever time in a weekend to double win. And he goes round the final corner to cement that double win. At Russia, he's absolutely dominated this weekend. Verified finishes P2. Dylan in P3 gets his second podium of the season. JDM in 4th, but we'll wait to confirm that with Michael 4 seconds behind. Will JDM get 4th? Yes, he will. Michael gets P5. Joa in P6. Yeah, Joa in P6. Phil P7. Swifty, I don't think he's going to stay P8. Tam Voucher's probably going to get that done through the penalties. The CVT has just caught up to the back of them. Aidan, if you want to add young shots. Swifty finishes P9, Tam Voucher P8. Oh, and CVT gets P9 off Swifty as well. And now we see Skiprat for his weekly donuts. Here we go. I haven't actually shown him for a while doing his donuts, but he goes into the pit lane. He'd better make sure not to get disqualified. It's not really working because he hasn't got. He's got the damage, so Yeah, it's not working for him at the moment.
Young
Even his donuts ain't going well this weekend. He's had a DNF and P11. Oh, and there we go. He's done one donut. There we go. And he goes around the final corner now to get P11 in the feature race. And what a race it has been. We're just going to add young shots now.
So that means high-tech's above. Oh.
Yeah, high tech. The Red Bull Junior team are ahead of the constructors. It's the first time this whole season that a new constructor has led the constructors championship, which is crazy to say.
Mad.
I'll get the results. But Shot's really showing his worth for this championship. This whole weekend just proves it. And yeah, he had a short little break, but he's back. In Ricardo's words, people thought he left, but it was just a little holiday, and he's back. So we're gonna see your driver of the days in the comments. So, right. So Billy says Dylan, I believe. Aiden says Dylan. Oh wait, no. Billy said Shots for the sprint race, and Dylan for the feature race. Matty says Shots for the feature race, sprint as well. Shots. But yeah, I believe that Shots is in the party now. So welcome.
Hello.
Congratulations for both of those wins. That was absolutely amazing. Pure dominance, I must say. Getting pole position in qualifying and winning both races. So, how was it on the safety car restart? Because it's the first one, I have to bring that up first. The first ever safety car. How did you feel leading the pack away from that?
I was quite confident at the start, and then the speed limiter came on. I didn't really know what to do.
Yeah.
And then I had quite a bad start, but I managed to pull away.
Yeah.
Hold on.
The limiter in the game has just been ridiculous recently, but yeah. You and Verify had a very nice little battle in that race. Tell us, how do you feel now that there's only 3 rounds left and you and Verify are as close as ever in the championship?
Well, I felt quite confident going into that race because my time trials were quite good, and me and Verify put the exact same lap time in, so I knew he'd be a bit of a opponent for me.
Yeah.
But after I undercut him and I was like just behind him, I could see that his pace was poor, and I managed to gap him.
Yeah. But all the super soft tyres really not working for Verify, but you managed to get the most performance out of them. Did you feel the difference between the mediums and the super soft tyres?
Yeah, I was going like a second, 7/10 faster each lap on the super softs. And Verify, I don't know what happened to him, but he was going behind.
Yeah, we was thinking maybe he had damage, but there's no visual for him. But yeah, both races for you were just amazing, and congrats on your 2 wins. And I'm going to let you go and celebrate with your team, as I believe that there's a couple of messages in the team chat for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, congrats once again, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. As now, we'll just get it on.
No.
So, next week, it will be Imola for the second time in Rapid Racing League, and be sure to join us. But tomorrow you've got Cameron doing comms, which is Dave Alvey. Yeah, and potentially Matty. I'm not entirely sure. But there's your race winning car today at Russia for round 11 in the Tier 2 Championship. And I'm going to let you all go now. I'll check the comments. No interviews for driver of the day, sorry. We want to get this over and done with. There's a few saying CVT for driver of the day. Yeah. So I'm going to let you all go now, and I'll see you next week and catch Dave, Alvin, Cameron tomorrow, and that's for round 11, tier 1 at Russia. And